Mm, 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 mm. All right, this is Tiffany Marchink. I am the host of the Medal of Honor podcast, where we hear veteran stories of strength, courage, and perseverance. Now, I don't want to talk to you about the podcast right now. I want to talk to you about today. What is today? Well, it's Saturday, December 10th. What does that mean for anybody? Nothing, something, maybe, not really. Well, it's the Army Navy game. The Army Navy game is played the second Saturday of December every year. So let's backtrack and look at some stats with that. Okay? So the Army Navy game is one of the most unique college football games that there is because it's full of tradition and honor and um, which is what the military is about anyway. And for those who have served know that each branch has its own set of traditions. So here's what the Army Navy game is. It's a college football game between the Army Black Knights of the United States Military Academy at West Point, which is located in New York, versus the Navy Midshipmen of the United States Naval Academy, which is located in Annapolis, Maryland. The Black Knights, the cadets at the school, and the midshipmen each represent that service's oldest officer commissioning sources. Okay, so the people who are students at these military academies are going to end up joining that particular branch. There's also an Air Force Academy in Colorado, a Coast Guard Academy, so yeah, each branch has its own. But the Army Navy game has just been a long standing game that people love to watch. Now, it hasn't always been publicized on TV. It wasn't until 1945 that the game started being nationally televised, and it would either be on ABC, NBC, or CBS. I believe it wasn't until the mid 90s where CBS was given the, what do you call it, the rights or whatever it's called. Not sure. You can comment in the comments below if you know what it is and can more accurately say it than I can. But since the mid 90s until about 2025, 2028, CBS will be the one that's televising it. Who cares, right? Just so long as you can watch it. That's what matters. Well, partially, right? It's not always. The game is not always held in the same location, and it's not necessarily at one of these two schools. Um, I'm trying to see. Let me look this up real quick so I don't lie and make stuff up. All right. Well, you know what? Anyway, it's not always at the same location. It can be in any number of places. So here's an example. All right. Let's look at this. The future venues for the Army Navy game, which is always going to be the second Saturday in December next year, it's going to be held at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. In 2024, it's going to be held at the FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. In 2025, the M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. 2026 is going to be at the MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And then 2027 is going to be at the Lincoln Financial Field in Pittsburgh. Now, here's what I really enjoyed about this year's game. The Army won. I mean, bottom line, that's what I liked about today's game. Now, this game has been going on, the Army Navy game has been going on since November 29th, 1890. It wasn't until 1930 that I think it became an actual annual event. So, the Army Navy game is one of the most traditional and enduring rivalries in college football. It has been frequently attended by sitting presidents. The game has been nationally televised each year since 1945. I think I already mentioned that one. Um, it wasn't until 2014 that instant replays, sorry. Oh, wait, no, that's not true. Hold on. ESPN's College Game Day has televised from the game's site on a yearly basis since 2014. The instant replays made its American debut in the 1963 Army Navy game. Since 2009, the game has been held on the second Saturday of December. So, great. Now let me tell you what I love most about the Army Navy game. Not just this year, because Go Army beat Navy. The Army won. But it's the one college football game that you can go, well, any college or professional. It's the only football game that every single player on the field is willing to die for the freedom of every person watching the game. Think about that. Let it soak in for a second. It's the only football game that you can watch where every player on the field is willing to die for every person watching the game in the stands, in the stadium, and on TV. And for those who don't ever watch the game. So, like, I think that's the biggest point that I'd want to drive home is not only is it a college sporting event, it's also a sporting event that is a representation of the future of the American military. While each branch does a lot of bantering back and forth, as I witnessed tonight, because I went to the Naval Weapons Station in Charleston, and I was the only Army person there. I mean, go figure, it was the Naval Weapons Station. Now, granted, I did show up right during halftime, but a good Army friend of mine, Robin Phoenix Johnson, you might want to check her out with the Best Medicine Brigade. Just saying, shout out to my Army friend there. She was there for the first half. We connected a little bit over time during halftime, and then she left, and I was the only Army person there second half. But guess what? The Black Knights showed out. Anyway, so we have, in the military branches, we have this rivalry. We talk about how Marines don't do anything but eat crayons. Oh, wait, that's another plug-in. Frank Mettle, he is a former Marine Corps infantryman, and he got tired of hearing people talk about Marines eating crayons. So what did he do? He said, you know what? You want to make fun of me for eating crayons? That's fine. Got it. He created something called CRE. What does it stand for? Crayons are ready to eat. He created edible crayons. Let me see. I don't remember the names of the colors. Sorry, Frank. I'm gonna look it up right now online. But if you want to learn more about the crayons ready to eat, all you need to do is check it out on, do a Google search, which is what I'm gonna do right now. Let's see. I want to pull this up because I don't want to. I like to wing it when I can, but right now I don't want to mess this one up because I think it's great. Crayons, crayons, ready to eat. All right, so, and I'm gonna see if I can share my screen when I pull it up, so you can see it. See what I'm talking about. So if you served in the military for any length of time, who cares how long? Oh wait, share screen. Let me share it so you guys can see it. I'm a huge fan of sharing resources. It's not about a funny, I should say that. It's not about a competition. That's what the Army Navy game is about, that competition. But in the military, at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. If you cover up the name of that branch on your uniform, it still says U.S. That's what matters. We're all still on the same team. So let me see. Share my screen now. Share screen. I want to share this. All right. And this. And share. Right, so that competition. If you go, but in the military, at the end of the day, we're all on the same team. If you cover up the name of that branch crayons, on your uniform, ready to eat, it still says U.S. That's what he has done. You can, all still on fill this out. Team. Subscribe to the newsletter and updates because he's been working on this for a while, but has gotten this up and running. So here it is. The colors. That's what I wanted. And by the way, I said MREs. Look. And share. So if you were in the military, if you go to the military at the end of the day, they were already the meals ready to cover up the name of that brand. Packaging for ready to eat. It still says U.S. is in that's that same type of packaging that the MREs were in. So newsletter and updates. He's been working on this for a while, but if you don't see it, look up and right of the screen. Here it is. If you want to order, that's what I want. And by the way, if you have a service member or veteran in your family, and you want to give it that competition, if you go to the military at the end of the day, they were always like the meals ordered by December 16th. Packaging for ready to eat. It still says U.S. is in. And then December 19th is the last day of same type of packaging where the MREs were in. Anyway, newsletter and they have 6 colors. He's been working on this for a while that represent all branches. If you look up and right of the screen, Jarhead red is for the Marines. By the way, if you have a blue or veteran in your family, the Navy, and you want to dog face green is the Army. End of the day, they were always like the Flyboy yellow is the packaging for ready to eat. Huddle pirate is orange. December 19th for the Coast Guard. Same type of packaging. Space Cadet white is for the Space Force. They have 6 colors. Check it out. That represent all branches. If you look up and right of the screen, Jarhead red. I'm going to order this for the Marines. By the way, I do an episode is for the Navy. Trying it out, and you want to dog face green is the Army. End of the day, they were always like the Flyboy yellow is the packaging for ready to huddle pirate is orange. December 19th for the Coast Guard. Same type of Space Cadet white is for the Space Force. They have 6 colors. Check it out. That represent all branches. Also, up and right of the screen. Jarhead red. I'm going to order this for the Marines. By the way, I do an episode. Crayons ready to make. Trying it out, and you want to dog face green. You gotta come out with the Marines. End of the day, they were always like the Flyboy yellow is the packaging for ready to huddle pirate is orange. December 19th for the Coast Guard. Same type of packaging. Space Cadet white is for the Space Force. They have 6 colors. Check it out. That represent all branches. Also, up and right of the screen. Jarhead red. I'm going to order this for the Marines. By the way, I do an episode. Crayons ready to make. Trying it out, and you want to dog face green. You gotta come out with the Marines. End of the day, they were always like the Flyboy yellow is the packaging for ready to huddle pirate is orange. December 19th for the Coast Guard. Same type of packaging. Space Cadet white is for the Space Force. They have 6 colors. Check it out. That represent I have not Jarhead red. I'm going to order this for the Marines. By the way, I do an episode. Crayons ready to make. Trying it out, and you want to dog face green. You gotta come out with the Marines. End of the day, they were always like the Flyboy yellow is the packaging for ready to huddle pirate is orange. December 19th for the Coast Guard. Biological family is born into cadet white, but for the Space Force. The military, the common, check it out, common bond. Every person who serves Jarhead red. I'm going to order this for the Marine bond. Raised our white ground. Uncle Sam, dog face green. You gotta come out with the Marines for the benefit of the Flyboy yellow is the use me to huddle pirate orange. December 19th for the Coast Guard. Biological family is born into that white, but the military, the common, check it out, common bond. Every there are a lot of people who Jarhead red. I'm going to order this remember them as they break our white ground and make us sand, dog face, on the benefit Bible yellow, but I read what I shared earlier about one being biologically born into that white, and voluntarily and militarily the common vision of God. And there are a lot of people who jog down break our white ground. I have a thousand things running through my head right now, but on the benefit Bible yellow, but I read what I shared earlier about one being biologically born into that white, and voluntarily and militarily the common vision of God. And there are a lot of people who jog down break our white ground. I have a thousand things running through my head right now. Oh, I know that okay. Bible yellow, but I read what I shared earlier about one being biologically born into that white, and voluntarily and militarily the common vision of God. That rivalry, like brothers have in family. So if you've never served siblings as an example, a thousand things running through my head right now. Oh, I know that brothers, okay, y'all mess with each other. That's what siblings do. And I shared that with the guy that was joining the army when I was in recruiting. And I asked him, I said, he asked rivalry, like brothers. I said, have a family. So if you've never served, ever fight as an example, he said, no. A thousand things are all my head right now. I said, don't worry, I'm not going to tell you how. Y'all are fight because I'm heck yeah. That's what siblings do. I said, but what if, and I shared that with the guy that was joining, and I started to pick on your sister. Would you let me pick on your sister? I said, no. He asked rivalry, like brothers. I said, have a family. So if you mess with each other, but let an outsider mess fight as maybe for them. I said, don't worry, I'm not going to tell you how. We all fight, and that's why I say all the time. That's what you can cover up what branch. I said, but what if, and I shared that with the guy that was display, joining, and I started to anyway. So you asked, I said, have a family. So if you mess with each other, let an outsider mess fight as maybe for them. I said, don't worry, I'm not going to tell you how. We all fight, and that's why I say all the time. That's what you can cover up what branch. I said, but what if, and I shared that with the guy that was display, joining, and I started to anyway. So you asked, I said, have a family. So if you mess with each other, let an outsider mess fight as maybe for them. I said, don't worry, I'm not going to tell you this game. We all fight, and that's why I say all the time. That's what you can cover up what branch. I said, but what if, and I shared that with the guy, and it was a double display, and I started to anyway. So you asked, let an outsider fight as maybe for them. I said, I'm not going to tell you this game. We all fight, and that's why I say all the time. That's what you can cover up what branch. I said, but what if, and I shared that with the guy, and it was a double display, and I started to anyway. So you asked, why the devil is let an outsider like we're not going to take this game. We all have right. That's why I say all the time. We can cover up what brand. I said, but what if I shared that with you? And it was the devil was trying to let an outsider cover up what brand. I said, but what if I shared that with you? And it was the devil was trying to let an outsider cover up what brand. I said, but what if I shared that with you? And it was the devil was trying cover up what brand. I said, but what if I shared that with you? And it was the devil was trying What What? So again, which uniform did you like the best? The Armies or the Navies? And then which team were you rooting for? Let me see. I'm going to type this. I'm going to type this in the chat. So when people do watch this or they join in, feel free to type in the chat which uniform you like the best, the Navy or the Army. So let's see, which team were you rooting for? Let me retype that. Hold on. Because I hear my mother in my head saying, nope, that's improper grammar. So, for which team did you root? For which team did you stand with? I don't know. Anyway, for which team? All right, you know what? Forget it. Let me just. Which team was your team? Army or Navy? Now, let's see. Which team's uniform did you like the most? Yeah, that is a hard one because I like both teams' uniforms. So, I don't know. So what? I got nothing now? Come on. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to ramble a little bit, a little excited about the Army winning this year's game. Anyway, so while I'm here, with really nothing else to say, I do want to share with you that I am going to be doing more posts here on YouTube. I'm going to be showing some excerpts of upcoming episodes. So, even if you don't normally follow the podcast, I ask you to follow the podcast. It's anchor.fm and / Mettle of Honor. And Mettle is Mettle. So, where did I come up with the name Medal of Honor? Well, it's a bit of a play on words of the Congressional Medal of Honor that some of the most amazing service members have rightfully been awarded. So it's a play on words for that, but also it speaks to the purpose of the podcast. It's to honor the medal displayed by both service members, veterans, and their family members. And if you don't know what the meaning of medal is, the Mettle, the meaning of that word medal is about the resiliency, the grit, the strength, the courage, perseverance, the person's character, not what they wore on their uniforms, not what they what rank they achieved or what branch they served in. It doesn't, the medal that's being honored is not any of that. It's when they hit life's obstacles it's that intestinal fortitude that just to press forward and lean in. So that's what I want these veteran stories to be. I also have guests that come on, who many of which who are veterans, but they don't share their story as much as they do what their nonprofit organization does, how they still continue to serve the military and veteran communities. And many of them also not only serve the military and veteran communities, they also serve first responders. So they do come on and share their stories. I love it when they do. Another thing that I'm going to be having come up in the podcast are, excuse me, not in the podcast, but in addition to the podcast, whether or not you subscribe and follow the podcast, at least subscribe to this YouTube channel, because what I'm going to be doing is ahead of time putting out there what episodes are coming up. So if you see somebody in the preview here on YouTube, you'll know that you'll want to tune in that week to hear that particular guest. Episodes are published weekly. They do come out on Wednesdays. So I will each week be putting out something from as a preview for that episode. Excuse me. There are some people that I have recorded already and published their episode, but what was published was not the entire episode. It would just be portions of it. So I'm going to start putting some of those episodes, like the full episode, here on this YouTube channel. YouTube channel. All right, this is Tiffany Marchink. I am signing out for the night. I appreciate you checking this video out. And go Army, beat Navy.